job. That's not always a good thing. Yeah. Okay. I never got smarter.
That guy that stabbed that gal on the bus. I mean, just out of the blue.
Yeah, did you see the video?
When I sit down, I'll have to get up. Right?
You get up just leave when you want to, so that's just
It's a good start to life.
Well,
Alrighty, it is 6:03, and I need to apologize because Jaren and Jenny made us late today, so we had to take care of some stuff in executive session.
he's good.
I'll tell you later. But I need to call to order the Union County School District Number 1 Board of Trustees School Board meeting. I need a motion to go into that meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Brian, I have a second by Jenny. Any discussions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I need a motion to adopt the agenda for today.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Dave, I have a second by Dan. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
This is the first meeting I've been to. I can actually hear the speakers.
Speakers.
Well, I finally turned my mic on.
Oh, is that what it is? That's been your fault all the time.
I need a motion to approve the consent agenda items. A, minutes approval. B, payment of bills. 3, special education related service contracts. D, approve second reading of the JJIF, R1 and DE1, sports medicine concussion protocol. And E, permission to excise equipment from the transportation department. That's
So
a
moved.
mouthful. You're supposed to repeat that, please.
Yeah, I thought
Okay.
so.
I have a motion.
Second that motion.
I have a motion by Brian, second by Dave. Any discussion? None? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. We will now move on to our presentations.
Chairman Peterson, members of the board, I would like to introduce our District Teacher of the Year, Crystal Peterson. Crystal, come on up. We have already given Crystal a plaque,
Okay, that's fine.
but we'd just like to give her an opportunity to say whatever she wants to say, or Pat, you're going to say something first?
Sure, I would love
Okay. That even works better.
I would love to. I'm here representing Evanston Middle School. It is my privilege and honor to introduce Crystal, not only as a teacher, but as a person. Just kind of get to know Crystal. I've gotten to know Crystal over the last few years. Wonderful family. Got 2 unbelievable daughters, a new granddaughter, and an adult male child that still lives at home. And with all of that, she still is able to be an unbelievable, amazing teacher. She, just this last year, in the White Top, and it's funny because right before the White Top came in, I know that Crystal was just panicking, scared to death about how her students were going to do. Come to find out, 69% of her students came in as advanced proficient. which is about 14% higher than the state. At least 14% higher than the state. Not only that, 40% or 40 students were advanced, which is amazing, just awesome. As I've kind of gotten to watch Crystal and the things that she does that's just so amazing, number one is the relationships that she builds with our students. She sets super high expectations, and her students know what those expectations are. She holds them to it day in and day out, and there is not a lot of waiver. They know what's expected in her class each and every day, and they know what they're going to get by going into that class. She holds the students, she holds my feet to the fire about what we need to be doing at school, and she is very much a trusted person in my eyes. We have amazing, amazing staff at Evanston Middle School, and Crystal is just kind of the tip of the sword of those whole people. She's part of our guided coalition. Just so you know, as a board, I've actually offered her a 10-year contract because I think that's how many years I've got left, and she can't leave until I'm about done. I got to really kind of work with Crystal one-on-one when I first came in, and I was a middle school track coach. And to see how Coach Peterson just even works with students in extracurricular activities. She coaches volleyball, she does track in the spring, and then math counts through the year. Is always somebody that kind of brings in a schedule 2 weeks ahead. Here's what we're doing. You know the organization of Miss Peterson. I know it's amazing to me how organized she is. But I feel truly lucky to not only get to know Crystal, consider her a friend, but also be a colleague of hers. And so, Crystal, congratulations, and you're very well deserving. Thank you.
Thank you. Doesn't know this, but I have a scheduled 2 options for homecoming already. I tried to find him a couple days ago and he was busy, so I've got 2 options to give to him. No, this is really quite an honor. I was quite surprised when Pat called me. I was headed home from LaBarge and out of service, and he turned back around so that I could see, what do you need, so I could get in service, and he told me that recognition. So I felt very honored and very surprised by that. He's shared a lot of things that, yeah, I'm kind of an organizer, but really I'm just one of the people involved. I work with an amazing staff. I work hard. I ask my enrichment team to do a lot, and they do. They really support me. It's just not a one person. It takes a village, right? And so I'm super excited to accept this recognition and recognize all of Evanston Middle School for everything that we're able to accomplish, and I'm just glad to be there and to be able to be a part of the lead team and kind of help things push forward. And I do have 3 years left, counting this one. So thank you so much. It's a good ride and a good thing. So thanks.
Thank you. So hold on for a second.
I'd like to say something if I could.
Yeah.
I would just like to say that in this world, there is a small subset of people whose personal character and integrity and skills and dedication stand out and are far above the norm and above reproach. And I just wanted to say that I feel like you are definitely and unquestionably one of those people.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks.
I just wanted to add is, as District Teacher of the Year, she qualifies to apply for Wyoming Teacher of the Year, and I think she has an outstanding chance.
Yeah.
We've had several Teachers of the Year before, and Crystal definitely has everything that's needed, but the interesting part is she has to put the application together. So I really would encourage that she do that with support of her principal and put in for Wyoming Teacher of the Year.
Well, if it involves scheduling.
Okay, you're good. We'll get a schedule.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I want to say one thing before you leave. I'm going to beat up on my wife here. No, I absolutely love Crystal to death, but the one thing that people have to realize is she has a sweet little demeanor about her when she's out in public. But when she is home, she is ultra competitive. So when the Y-top scores come out, she's on it right then. Where am I at? And then the next thing she does is she looks at Davis Middle School. And so she's always competing against Davis to see where they're at. And if she happens to be a little bit behind in the past, she sucked it up next year to make sure that she was going to beat Davis, and her kids were going to outdo Davis, so.
Well, just a couple points.
Yeah, I know, you get in the past, so, but there
We're
was,
right in there good.
yeah, but just the competitiveness. And I love you and thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. I'm gonna go try more next appointment.
All right, presentations. Now we will move on to the Y-top results.
Members of the board, we do this annually every year once the results come out, and we ask Assistant Superintendent Rigby and Ingalls to do this for us, so I think we have really good news.
All right. Okay, so Chairman Peterson, members of the board, appreciate the opportunity to share this year's data with you. It's actually last year's results from the Y-top as well as the school accountability reports. And so, all right, let's go to the first one. Okay, so in terms of school accountability, elementary through 8th grade all have the exact same accountability measures, so that's why you see the 4 elementaries and the 2 middle schools grouped together. You can see that all of the schools are meeting expectations. You can see that EMS is exceeding expectations as an overall school rating, so doing some amazing things. The challenge there is to stay there. It's one thing to get to that exceeding ranking, but it's another thing to stay there because it's hard to meet the growth requirement within that if you're achieving at a high level. So, and then you can see the areas that we still need to work on there as well. Evanston High School is a partially meeting school this year. You can see that the achievement is meeting, but the growth and the equity were below target, and that's what kept them from meeting expectations. You can see they're exceeding in 9th grade credits. And I'm gonna talk to this in just a minute, but I'm gonna use some other data to kind of drive that point home.
Remind me what equity means again?
Equity is, so the students that perform on the Y-top in the bottom 23%, or the 23rd percentile and below across the state, that is a category of students or a subgroup of students that are considered equity students.
Okay.
So the competition, as Chairman Peterson mentioned, is that they don't have to become proficient. You just have to, so if a student had a scale score of 200, all of the students that are at the 200 scale score are competing against each other to see who grows the most. And if your student grows more than the average student that was at the 200 scale score, then you can get out of the equity piece. So it's actually designed. And quite honestly, the Y-top, I wasn't going to talk about it, but the Y-top is it's competing against yourself all the time. And I'll address that here in just a few minutes.
And the equity and growth are very similar, only the equity is that 23%. So you become part of cohorts based upon your previous year's scores. If you outscored, then you're above that 50th percentile, then you get credit. It's built into the formula in your school.
So interestingly enough, DMS was a not meeting school last year, and they are a meeting school this year. The reason they were not meeting last year was because of ELL, which was not even applicable this year. So in terms of how they calculate these scores, it's hard to explain, and I don't know that anybody could, to be honest with you.
And your ELL population below target, again, we don't know, the exceeding, North does an incredible job, but I think all of our schools do a nice job. Our ELL team meets on a regular basis as a PLC, and so they're offering very similar programs throughout our schools. So you can see that, again, North was exceeding there, but the others were meeting, and DMS is not applicable. The reason it's not applicable, it didn't have a cohort larger than 10.
It seems like we had a conversation one time last year or something that that the objectives of ELL were difficult to meet, that there was some difficulty in the structure or something.
As you continue to move up, as you try to pass the access test, and that's what determines whether you're continuing to be qualified as an ELL student, becomes more challenging as the years go on. So if you get out of the elementary, and you haven't passed that, it becomes pretty rigorous and challenging to do that.
Because you start to add all of the other content areas, right? So it is very difficult. Horizon, meeting expectations. PSR is post-secondary readiness. So things like CTE, industry recognized credentials, is a way that you earn post-secondary readiness scoring. And then credits earned, just the ability to make sure that students are on track to meet graduation requirements.
This right here is really something that Wyoming should be quite proud of. And as you're going to look later as you look at our data, we should be very proud of being above average, the state average in reading and in math at almost every grade level. You're going to notice that tells you how we would rank across the country. This is our NAEP score. It's really what's given. Our schools participate in it on a regular basis. What it does is really takes a look at Wyoming. It's interesting, it says here, Wyoming is 5th, but then if you look in the star on this particular chart, it says they are 4th. So they are 4th. As you look at them coming across, sometimes we've been 2nd in the country. The one state that seems to always be at the top, anyone have a guess?
Utah.
Massachusetts. Massachusetts, though, chose years ago, when they were required under No Child Left Behind to have a state assessment, they chose the NAEP assessment as their state assessment and have continued to do that. So therefore, they take that NAEP assessment and their standards are aligned to that. So of course, they're going to do better because they're better aligned to the assessment that they're utilizing to determine how states are doing across the country. Wyoming is one of the few states in the western United States that competes with the Massachusetts, Minnesota's up there as well at this point in time. But consider that we're 5th in the country as it states here, and we as a district are currently about above average in comparison to the state. So says something about the education providing. Also, continue to keep in mind, and not that, as we look at scores, as we look at our accountability, we are between 58 and 60% free and reduced lunch, which is a poverty indicator. I know that sometimes people say, well, that's what it is. However, poverty does make an impact on education. When those kids come into kindergarten and you have a difference between a 500-word vocabulary and a 5,000-word vocabulary, there's a huge difference. Socioeconomic status does make a difference. We do an incredible job in preparing kids and moving them through our system. So, questions on that and on me?
All right, so this is what really interesting, right? So there are 7 states that require all students to take the ACT. Of those 7 states, Wyoming is number 1 in terms of ACT performance in college and career readiness. That's pretty cool, right? This is what our legislature continues to not pay attention to, the NAEP scores. We're 4th in the country as a state. We're number 1 on the ACT of the 7 states that require all of their students to take the ACT. When Dr. Ingalls talked about, right, and we'll show you, when we talk about our white top scores, and I mentioned it's a normed test, a normed test means that 50% of the kids are by design of the assessment not going to be proficient. And so we continue to push our kids, and our goal is to always be above average, right? But if you look at the averages when we show you our white top scores, you'll notice that they're always between, the state average is always between 45 and 55%. That's by design. They change the test every year. If kids do really well on this particular domain, Crystal can tell you this, she knows it. If they do really well on this domain, as a state, if the state is above average, they'll change the cognitive demand of the questions that are aligned to that domain so that more kids get them wrong. And so we do extremely well. So when the legislature says, well, third grade reading, only 55% of our kids are reading at proficient level. Well, if our kids took a different state's test that wasn't normed, they would perform much higher, right? So the point is, we have a lot to be proud of, not only in our district, but as a state in terms of the education that we're providing for our students. And our legislature really needs to take note of that.
And I think sometimes proficiency is the goal, or being advanced. But those kids who are basic, you have some kids who are right on that cusp. It may have been a question that kept them from being from basic to proficient. And so we try to watch that number as well, and the percentage of students who are within that basic range, the ones we're really concerned about, and those are primarily our equity kids who make up that well below group. But again, because a student's basic doesn't mean that student can't read. And I think that's the language that is sometimes used in certain circles, that, well, kids can't read. Well, they didn't read proficiently on that day to meet the criteria that was set. And again, you're going to look at some of our third grade scores. They had 8 passages on their reading assessment. That's a lot for a third grade. These are 9-year-olds. And you're sitting down and they're trying to pass this. We don't look at the assessment. We don't spend any time count it. But we do know really the structure of what those kids are being required to do. And it's a pretty heavy load. Again, the whole state has that same load as we do. So.
All right. Does anybody notice the paradox here?
Southwest
Evanston
Wyoming.
High School was a partially meeting school using the Wyoming State Accountability System. U.S. News World and Report has them as the 4th best high school in the state of Wyoming. Right, so what is that based on? It's based on AP scores, the number of students that you have taking advanced placement courses, the number of students that are passing their AP exams. And so there is a lot to be proud of at Evanston High School. Okay, so, and what's interesting about that, when I dug into the data, we actually have a higher college and career percentage than Sheridan does, and we always compete against Sheridan. Right, so they beat us in some other areas, but I had to point out, we did beat them in college and career readiness percentages.
Go Sheridan.
All right, so just real quick, this is our secondary schools. And you can see, right, DMS is red, EMS is blue, the state is brown. You can see, again, if you look at the state averages across the board, it's between 45 and 55% typically, right? And so the ones that have hearts next to them our goal is to always be at least 5% above the state average, right? That's our goal every year. And where you see the hearts are those scores that were above 5%. Beyond, right? So you can see, and quite honestly, in a single testing, in a single subject school, like our middle schools, Pat already identified it. So those were Crystal scores at 69% proficient or advanced students. Oh, those are still mine. All right. So there's our ELA scores. Again, higher, right? And you can see, again, where the hearts are, that's where we met that goal of being 5% above the state average. We have amazing ELA teams that are doing some amazing work that I'm extremely proud of.
As you can see with our science, you're looking at, there's only one grade in elementary that's tested in science, that's 4th grade. 8th grade is tested at the middle school, and then you look at the 10th grade scores that are there. Phenomenal what happens. Consider that these kids are coming into science maybe, at Clark they might get it 2 days a week, and at some of the schools it might be 3 days a week that they're getting at. 4 days, every 4th day you might be getting at UA numbers. So keep that in mind as you look at those scores, but love the hearts. And again, 3 of those elementaries, and UME was really close in being 5% above what the state average is. Then you can take a look at our math proficiency levels. And again, if you're going to look at that 5% range across, I just didn't know how to put the little hearts in above some of those, or we may have had blue hearts up above, but I just didn't go ask Doug how to put the hearts in the chart. So you can see that our scores, sometimes our scores are staggered a little bit, but you can see that this year you may be at a 45%. Next year you might be at a 60%. Some of that is the group of kids that you have sitting down to take that assessment as they're coming through there. There's good work happening at all of our elementary schools, and you can see that across the board with our math proficiency there. And there you can see our ELA as well. Again, keep in mind that every one of our schools, they met their accountability measures as meeting or in some cases exceeding, depending on the area and the indicator that they're working in. So proud of the work that our schools are doing, proud of the work that our leadership is providing, and that in and of itself is here. We'd like to recognize those school leaders and the staff for the effort and the commitment for all the students that we have in Uintah County School District number 1. And I do want to emphasize the importance that we place on all students. Our guarantee is that all of our kids are in the core. And that's something that we have said for years. That was a shift that we made, and those kids receive core instruction at grade level. They also have the opportunity for interventions that may fill some of those need gaps by skills and by standards, but keep in mind that our kids are in the core receiving core instruction. That means tier 1, lots of different things that you say, but they are there receiving that instruction daily. Questions that you have for us? And welcome. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So like to introduce
So,
yourself?
if you're done, we're going to have him introduce himself. Just having people come walk up on
Unless you have
the empty seats. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I think it's interesting, the states that were listed, they seem to be states that are more rural in their structure. And I think that helps a lot in Wyoming, because we have a lot of independent thinking, and I think you see that in what the request or demands for the students to compete.
Absolutely.
You know, we're a little more aggressive.
You're talking about the 7 states that require the ACT?
Yeah, the ACT. That's interesting, because, you know, it used to be everybody.
Right.
To
And
some
there are-
degree.
The states on both coasts will use SAT. So the East Coast states will require the SAT. New Mexico requires the SAT.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the state.
Where you're at.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Good job.
Other questions?
Nope.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.
All right.
That was great.
There you go.
The floor is now yours.
Yep.
Yeah, it's on. You're good.
Yeah, just bend it over where it's close to you.
It's not on.
You need to use yours, Brian. This isn't.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Dominic Stewart. I'm the student body president down at Evanston High School. Sorry I'm a bit late. I was at football practice, so I tried getting over here as fast as possible.
Thank you.
That's a good reason.
Okay, say your name again, I didn't catch it.
Dominic Stewart,
So who do you play Friday?
Riverton. Yeah, Riverton.
Here or there?
Here.
All right. I knew that, but I
Well, Dominic, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Glad to
Welcome.
have you.
So you made that long bus trip last weekend?
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah, I
say.
did.
Yeah.
I didn't play though.
But long ways to go.
That's it.
No,
I had
welcome.
an
Thank you.
interesting conversation with a person of renown down in Utah, and it turned out they were a Ben Lomond fan.
Uh-oh.
And was an interesting discussion that we had.
Well, thank you. We'll see you every month. Don't be tardy.
You can be.
Sick Mrs. Peterson on you. Okay, we will now move on to our discussion items. I'm not gonna throw you under the bus again.
All right, Chairman Peterson, members of the board, Superintendent Thomas has asked that I come and talk about just the projects that we did over the summer. You'll notice in your assembly packet that list, and that doesn't represent everything. Basically, what I've got is anything above, really about $1,500 and above, which represents about 26 projects that we worked on from the start of summer break and continuing through this fall. A lot of funds were spent on just repairs throughout the district on different asphalt, trying to take care of as many potholes as we possibly could in the big areas there. Built another timeout room for our special services department, added a handicap approach that at the time UNM Meadows was built wasn't required, but due to the nature of some of the students we have, felt that it was a good addition for UNM Meadows, as well as a handicap door closure that they actually didn't have in the front. And again, wasn't required when UNM Meadows was built at the time, but will be a great need for what they have right now. Did some sidewalk work, not only at Clark, but just across the district. As you can see, a lot of work was spent, or a lot of time was spent on the upgrade to Aspen fire alarm, and that's a whole new system. The system that was in there was original, and so that leaves me 3 more buildings left, which is Davis, which will happen this upcoming summer, North, and UNM Meadows. And once we have those 3, then we will have everything up to date and compliant with code. Not that we're out of compliance right now, but the newer systems work so much better, and we're able to determine zones a lot better. Did some railing, step railing on the modulars, bathroom partitions at North. I've got a 2-year project over at the Horizon on the roof repair. We did a part of it this summer, and then we'll do the rest of it hopefully next summer. If you haven't seen the continuation that we started last summer with the EHS stucco, we finished that on the gym entrance, and then coming around, I'll call it the south lot over there, where the stairs coming from the second floor come down, all of that, and I think that turned out really, really nice with that. I know questions have been asked why I went with tan and not red, because the tan over time will stay tan. The red, although it might look good for a couple years, will fade to pink, and I did not want to create ourselves where we have to redo the red devils to the pink devils, so we're going to stay with tan and keep it that.
Could go with blue.
Blue has a tendency to fade as well
Giving you a hard
from
time.
that navy to light blue, but we could have, yeah. EHS, a lot with the sprinkler project, what that is, and I know I've had some individuals in the community asking, what are we doing again at the entrance? We have now tied all of the sprinkler system for the high school, which is our largest use of water, from the domestic water system to the secondary raw system, which is the same one that the golf course uses for that. And so that should be a savings because the cost of that water is significantly reduced compared to the domestic. So that'll be a great thing.
Jaren, is that why during the summer sometime we quit watering the grass? I mean, it gets brown. Is there a reason for that?
We are chasing some wiring issues.
Oh, 'cause some of those, then all of a sudden the sprinklers are working again.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, I live close enough.
It's
I
a
know.
ghost in the night sometimes, and
Ghost in the night.
yeah.
It just
So,
was-
again, we're dealing with a system that's 40 years old, and that wiring, when it was put in, was not put in any conduit. It was just direct buried, and so replacing that has been just little by little, and what we can do. We're adding some more lockers to the EHS PE area to account for the increased numbers there. We did a huge project in the auditorium at the EHS. Again, original lighting was 40 years old. and it's now all up to date with new LED lighting in both the house lighting as well as the stage lighting. And so, fantastic project that I know both our music department and our drama department, all of those teachers are super excited about what that did and that changed into the auditorium there. Currently working on the DMSP lockers. They are back ordered, should be here probably in the next couple weeks. Right now we have them slated and working with Mr. O'Driscoll and the PE department to put those in starting over fall break and then finishing a week or two after that. While they are transitioning, they'll be using the pool locker room, so they still will have a place where they can change and store their stuff. So the students will be using that, and then they'll be able to move into their new space once the new lockers are put in. DMS front doors, working on some more ductwork and heating and cooling at DMS. And then pad for the new cooler, which we purchased, which is a Connex cooler, which is going to be a wonderful piece of equipment. So if any of our existing coolers go out, we have a place to transition that food quickly and not lose the thousands and thousands of dollars, especially at Central Kitchen with the size of their cooler. And then we had an emergency replacement of the EHS pool boiler. As we were doing some maintenance work this summer, found out that it was failing, so we quickly have ordered a new one. That actually should be coming in anytime. I'm just waiting. They have everything prepped for it, and then they'll put that in. And so as you can see, close to $2 million being spent this year. The good news is the, I don't know if it's part of the lawsuit or the generosity of our legislators, but our major maintenance significantly went up for this upcoming year, which is good. Hopefully it'll continue to go up. The hard thing, and as I've talked to the state, a lot of the projects we're dealing with are really in regards to our heating and cooling, HVAC, which are expensive. We have 2 roofs that we need to work on, and again, really expensive. And a lot of it's due to just the age of the buildings. We have 5 buildings that were all built about the same time, and so their age is getting up there. So that's a quick overview of kind of the summer projects. Do you have any questions for me in regards to those projects that we've accomplished or are currently working on?
Major maintenance, you're getting $2 million in, is that what you get every year? Got about right?
So it actually has increased almost an additional $1 million. So we're 2.9, which is good. But
For the coming year.
yes, for the coming year.
Okay, that's why
Yep.
you're stopped at 1.9.
It is awesome. 2 big projects that are coming up that we have component level funding. So remember, I get major maintenance from the state, and then the component level funding is outside of the major maintenance. Those funds are determined by different FCI scores, and then the committee decides how those funds can be allocated across the state. So 2 component level projects that we have received funding for is Davis Middle School for next summer, an electrical upgrade, and so we'll be updating all of their outlets, their light fixtures, their light switches, new fire alarm system, and going through that. The other thing that we have received funding for is the roof. Now, what's unique about this is they gave us $3 million for the electrical upgrade, and they gave me $1 million for the roof. Those need to be
The other way around.
the other way around.
That's why I'm chuckling.
But we're grateful for the funds they've given us. We'll do what we can, and I'm hoping that if we can save some funds from our electrical upgrade, being able to have the conversation with them and saying, look, that roof's going to be $3 million, maybe $4 million. Can we utilize those funds? We'll see what we can do. All we can do is ask, and hope for the best.
Isn't the roof a component of the electrical system that keeps the
Well,
rain off of it, correct?
I joked with the state and I said, so if I put solar panels on there, now it's become an electrical project, which means in order for me to put those on, I'm going to have to redo the roof first. And they said, Jaron, you're too creative. Can't do that.
They have no sense of humor.
So, Jaron, the 1.9 million, any of that major maintenance from last year, or is it all this year?
That's a great question, Dan. And so what's difficult is I get my funds in July.
Right.
So I was actually spending some funds from last year trying to do projects in June, and then I carry some of that fundage over to July. So it's actually a mixture of fundage, what was left over from last year, then we started this year. Now, if you were to look at how we ended, it was close to $2 million for the 24-25 year. We ended with just less than $100,000. So I spent every bit that I could. So.
Okay. Cool.
Great question. Other questions?
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Don't mind me. Are we ready?
Yep.
Chairman Peterson, members of the board, just Pathway of Excellence, this is when we approve it in September. Just wanted to kind of remind you of the district goals. You'll have an opportunity when the principals present their goals to you. We'll start that next month, and so you'll see the building goals up close and personal. But just to point out, the first goal we've had for a while is the idea that in the state accountability system, for all content areas will meet or exceeds categories. This is the best we've ever done, closest we've ever come. And it is a moving target, as you can see, but that needs to be our expectation, that we're meet or exceeds in all categories. And that will continue to be our emphasis. That's really, in terms of what has been added and modified, not a lot. I mean, we're going to stay the course and continue to work. You'll see some differences within the building goals when they make their presentations based on their test scores. But I do recommend later that you approve the Pathway to Excellence as our strategic plan.
Good.
That's it for that.
Pathway. Bid for insurance consultant.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, if you remember last year, we had a small consulting agreement with Morton and Company. And Morton presented an option for us to go in contract with them for insurance services that was for, I believe, $40,000. And that triggered a need to go out to bid. So in June, the board approved to go out to bid for, and as we termed it, insurance analysis services. We wanted to keep our relationship with Hoffman Insurance Services, which we value. I feel like the staff values, and yet bring in a consultant or consultants that will allow us to have kind of actuarial services, the specialized services that are kind of necessary in this day and age. So we published it in the Uinta County Herald. We solicited bids throughout the nation. I did receive one from, at least an inquiry from New York. And should be in your bid packet, 2 bids that came back. One was from Morton, and the other one was from Gibson. And Gibson their proposal is $30,000, whereas Morton's is $50,400. I've met with Gibson members. I've met with Hoffman Insurance and had some discussions about what they're able to do. I believe that they can accomplish the things that that we set out in the RFP, and at a much cheaper rate than Morton. Now, with that said, this last week I was at recalibration, and let me give you some kind of weather forecasts that I'm seeing on the horizon. I'm not saying that this is happening, but one of the issues that they did talk about is possibly bringing in all of the districts into the state's insurance pool. Okay, so currently, right now, we have one district, which is Natrona, which is at the center of the state, nearest hospitals and things like that. I'm not saying that they're going to do that, but let me just say that there was an inordinate amount of discussion for that, okay? That we did also hear from Wept and Whizbait, the big pools that are also out there, but in terms of the amount of time, then you can use that as a guide to kind of the political tea leaves that are out there. That could happen. So if we go with this, be aware that there could be a seismic as part of recalibration in which, the state could play a move that we're maybe not wanting to do. I'm not saying that it's not a good thing. However, it kind of forces everybody's hand. Everybody's in the pool. It would also, as far as, unless they change the rules, require potentially other rules that would apply to the district that we're, maybe that's not the direction that we want. The state right now uses Cigna as the major provider, and it's a national company and things. It's just, so I'm not saying, hey, this is going to happen. I'm just saying it could happen.
So potentially, we approve this consultant and work for the next 6 months to go out to bid, and the state comes up and say, nope, you go with Cigna. But still, I think we need to do due diligence and study this before we...
In other words, let's say that it does not happen, and that's not a move. If we do nothing, then the criticism is, well, why didn't you do something? And so I think 30,000, I've put money into the budget for it because we knew about it in June of last year. I like the price that Gibson has. I like the fact that Dan is saying, I think this is, that I could work with them, and things. So again, what they're offering is the behind-the-scenes actuarial services, which Morton also has, but it allows us to dig deeper and things. So with that said, do you have any questions on anything on this?
Where is Gibson from?
Oh, they're out of Salt Lake.
Okay, all right.
So.
And when would this contract be valid?
Well, we kind of, we were going to start September 1st, but the thought was that you would have this in your hands last August.
Okay.
So, it's one of those things of, we'll start that as soon as the board gives permission, but we would like kind of the analysis services to work with the insurance committee as soon as possible. So, any other questions? So,
Yeah.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Thomas, early graduation requests.
Okay, Chairman Peterson, members of the board, we did discuss the early graduation requests, and really, this is just an opportunity if you have questions. We do this typically every year. We get one or two every year, and again, these individuals have a plan, and we'd like to respect that. And this has also been approved by Principal Kohler. So later, we'll recommend that you approve this early graduation. Any questions, anything I can answer for you?
Don't sound like it, so we can move on to our JFCK policy, student cell phones.
Members of the board, this is our student cell phone policy, cell phone use policy. There are some changes that were made. I had Mr. Phillips go through them to make sure we hit all the legal points, and they are kind of, the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Remember, this was opened up to the community for comment. I did receive 3 comments. Unfortunately, they're all anonymous, which is disappointing because I would have loved to have been able to contact them and respond back. 1 was from a parent and 2 were from students. I don't know if you want me to read them to you, but fundamentally what their concern is they recognize that and they understand that academic time should be protected. What they really don't understand is lunch and buses, that they're limited on lunch, at lunchtime and buses. And they don't agree with that, which is kind of the argument we've had for a long time. If you look at the policy, you can see the bullet points there. The last bullet point, the building principal, coach, sponsor, router, activity driver may authorize the use of cell phones by students in special circumstances, and these are the special circumstances: emergency contact, health monitoring, delayed or extended travel. So we have built into the policy that there's some flexibility, but we felt it was important to start out really as a ban, and then we can go make some exceptions. We will have to tighten up a little bit, I think, for a while, the idea that one coach allows and one coach doesn't. One bus driver does, one bus driver doesn't. So this is brand new, we're working through it. I think it makes sense, common sense to me, that as a coach on an overnight trip, I would tell my kids, you can have your cell phones for an hour, make contact with your friends, parents, and then the phones have to be put away for the night. I think that's reasonable. After an activity, to say you can have your cell phones for an hour, contact your parents, let them know you're okay, let them know how you did. After that, you need to put them away, turn them off. So that's stuff we can, common sense stuff we can get to in the future. The bus routes, even our long bus routes, regular bus routes, was a request from our transportation department. They saw enough misuse and abuse that they requested that we include them. They have some flexibility too, but right now I think we just say no cell phones on the buses. So is it the most popular policies we've ever had? No, but I think it's one of the ones that research is pretty clear. There is really no argument that they're a distraction and a disruption, and for schools, they do cause additional headaches. So for now, I think it's a good policy. Like I said, we've been through it back and forth. It does provide some exceptions. The part I really like about the policies, and I think we talked about this before, is to recognize that we understand that there are times that there'll be emergencies. We've always been equipped for that. A parent can call the school, and then there is an adult who can contact that student and deal with an emergency. If there's an emergency at school, our students can use the phones with the support of another adult there. It just again, it's maybe one step more, but we did it for years before cell phones were even around. Any other questions about the policy? I like how it talks about consequences. I think we're in parallel with the law that's out there in terms of confidentiality, FERPA. We have had already this year some disciplinary issues because of the phone. Not that they had them, but they used them inappropriately. So they got in trouble for having them and for using them inappropriately. But I just think overall, our students are capable of adapting, and we have a student representative. I'm sure he'd love to let you know how he feels about that. Maybe not. But,
I think he was shaking his head. He didn't like
I think we know where he's at.
Go ahead if you want to say something.
Well, in my opinion, I actually like the phone ban, because for me, like, socially and like mentally, like, school's been a lot easier this year when not everyone's on their phones, and like my like relationships with my friends has also grown, like on that Colorado Springs bus trip. All we did was sit and talk the entire time rather than having our nose in our phone. So I actually do like the phone ban. So.
I agree.
There you go. So, I don't know if you know, we made the Cowboy State Daily. I think we're one of 2 districts that have banned cell phones, or we're in the process. This will be second reading tonight. Those, I guess, in the know have the same opinion. Our principal and assistant principals appreciate the ban, and again, it's maybe some growing pains, but we'll get better at it. But I do recommend that you approve this policy as written for second reading later on the night.
Can you define where it says activity trips that require extended travel?
Overnight.
Overnight is defined as extended.
Like a
Yeah.
snowstorm.
So driving to
Yeah.
Riverton and back in the same day is not
Yeah, if you were going to go to Riverton and back, but you got caught in a snowstorm and ended up in Rollins, we probably should let them use their phones and call their parents. That would be a perfect
But
reason.
again, it would be like the guidance that you suggested,
Yes.
where the coaches say, okay,
Yes,
you can
it's
have
up
it
to
for
the
an hour
coaches.
to let your parents know this is what's going on, but
Yep, and I would
otherwise
say, with this policy, we've taken it a step further than what we did last year. We allowed really our teachers and our principals to deal with this issue. I think we need to monitor that too and make sure that there is some guidelines in place and that we have discussions with our coaches, that it's not a choice to let them use it all the time. That's
Right.
not okay. But at
It
the
needs
same
to be
time, I think we need to be
uniform across the
reasonable.
board, I think.
Yes.
Right.
So we'll be working on that shortly.
Yeah, I was just going to comment that I talked to some kids that are involved in different activities, and it seemed like it was kind of all over the place of who was enforcing it and who wasn't enforcing it
Yeah.
on the policy, so.
And that's the way it was last year. That's again why I made the decision to put this together.
Well, I think we knew going in, there was gonna be some growing pains.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, and I don't think it's necessarily mostly the kids. I think it's the parents. The parents are used to having instant access to their kids. When we were going to school, you didn't talk to your mom for 8 to 12 hours, and that was fine.
Maybe 3 days.
Yeah.
This isn't anything really new, Ryan. You know, we've had, even when I was there, it was cell phone issues, and we handled it as a school. But I think it's better as a district policy, then it takes a little bit away from the schools differently. They're all on the same page now.
Exactly.
So
And
it's
I
good.
do think, if you read the Cowboy State Daily, I think Senator Schuler is still going to pursue this.
That,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Ryan, have you had any feedback from the article?
no, just
Yeah.
individuals in the district.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
that's all I had.
All right.
Great.
Any other comments on that? Nope. All right, we will now move on to public comments. Huh. Can we strike up some controversy somewhere somehow? We haven't.
Well, we can drain the pool.
What are you talking about?
Oh.
Yeah, they just got through talking about a new boiler. We won't have to buy a boiler.
We just have not had any public comments for a long time, so I just
Careful what you ask for.
Well, it could be good. Why does it have to, it could be good things.
Moving on, Dave.
We'll move on. So no public comments. We will now move on to our action items. We have no personnel action items to be taken care of today. We'll move on to, I need a motion to approve the insurance consultant as identified by Mr. Williams.
Motion to approve the insurance consultant as identified by Mr. Williams.
Second.
Motion by Brian, second by Jenny. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. I need a motion to approve the Pathway to Excellence for 25-26 school year.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Jenny, second by Dan. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
Chairman Peterson, just to make sure that we provide enough time between motions, just have a brief discussion. Appreciate approving those two. Ready to move on? We're good.
Oh, sorry.
You're moving too fast, Dave.
Well, wait a second. I'm not moving fast enough.
Do not listen.
I am moving too fast.
I thought you were
I gotta,
going
just right, the porridge, right? So, okay. I need a motion to approve the early graduation request for the Evanston High School as identified in the executive session.
So moved.
I have a motion by Brian.
I'll second. Oh, come on. Go ahead. Give it to her.
Janice.
A second by Janice. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Is that okay? Or can I bump it back up to 1-0?
Now, are they aware that they have the opportunity to come and walk?
Yeah, they'll be told.
Okay. I need a motion to approve the second reading of policy JFCK, the student cell phone use.
So moved.
I'll second.
I have
A first.
Jenny. Jessica.
You're struggling when you
He's
can't.
trying to go slow.
I'm trying to go slow, so,
He's trying to serve two masters here.
Slow is fast.
okay.
You're
Any
good.
discussion? None? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. I need a motion to approve the permission to seek bids for the buses and vehicles. We never did discuss
Yeah,
that.
Chairman
as
Peterson, members of the board, we didn't really need to discuss this. This is something that's,
Annual.
yeah, we do annually, typically 2 buses every year. This one's a little different because we are adding 2 student vehicles
Suburbans.
and 1 staff vehicle. Our fleet's getting a little older. And again, if the funds are available, I say go ahead and do it. So that's the recommendation from Director Fackrell. So if you have questions, he'd be the man to answer.
So, where was I at? I need a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman,
The bids.
I move that we approve the transportation request in regards to buses and vehicles.
Second.
Going to bid.
I have a motion, I have a second. Dave and Brian. Any discussions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion, did I say any opposed?
Yeah.
No opposed.
Okay. Ayes have it, motion carries. See, you got me out of my little groove.
You're in the groove there. There you go.
I need a motion to approve the Transportation Department compliance requirements. Again, I don't know if I saw that anywhere.
Any
We had-
discussions? This is something we have to do annually by law. We always do it in September. This, where we stop, where the routes are, where we turn around.
Oh, that was part of that. Yeah, I seen that in there, so, yeah, that was the,
So moved.
okay.
Second.
Brian and Jen, yeah.
Mine and Jenny. Any discussions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. I need a motion to go into recess from the regular school board meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we go into recess from the regular meeting.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. We now need to go into a public hearing on the concealed carry CKA policy.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any discussion? None? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
Members of the board, just, this is an opportunity by rule making that we allow the community an opportunity to provide comment on our notice that we're going to make revisions to Rule CKA. This is the clean copy of Rule CKA. If you get in Assembly, everyone has access to this through our district website. They have access to the clean copy and red line copy that shows the changes, but it's so confusing to look at the red line, so I'm showing you the clean copy. Basically, what makes this different than the last one is this is it. It's CKA. There is no CKA R1, R2, R3, and R4. They're being done away with. This takes into consideration all the aspects of the new law and the old one, 21-3-132. And I went through it again today. I think it is really well done. It's concise. It protects us. Remember, the whole point of the new statute was it allows school districts to limit employees and volunteers to concealed carry. They have to provide notice and they have to receive training. Anyone else can bring a weapon into the school without that, but this allows us to deal with our employees and volunteers this way. It also provides us protection that open carry is not allowed, and of course, students aren't allowed at any time to concealed carry. It provides a requirement for training, which is robust, just what the law requires. There's an annual recertification that's relatively robust. But the best part, I think, is the communication between us and law enforcement. So law enforcement will know who and where is someone that's concealed carrying in our buildings. That's really what the law allows. It's kind of an interesting predicament that we've said before is this puts a little added restriction on our own employees, but the statute allows it. And we've lived it for 3 or 4 years now and are comfortable with the training. And so I think it's something that we just need to continue to move forward. I did, and this isn't a big deal, but I did find one section in here we can probably take out because it's duplicated. If you look at B, under liability insurance, it's repeated at the end. I don't know if we did that intentionally, Jeff, it's in there twice. Or if we can take one out. I'd say we take the one at the bottom out, but anyway, this does provide additional liability insurance for all of our employees. Now that this law is put into place, we purchased another policy for an active shooter. Kind of interesting that the state did this and we're the one paying for the liability insurance. And also additional liability insurance for those who are actually approved to concealed carry. So I think we protect our employees and we protect ourselves. Another thing we have learned, since that liability insurance is in our policy, we can seek reimbursement from the state because it is part of our rule. We experienced that this year and we were reimbursed for everything we applied. They originally fought back on the liability insurance, but when we showed them it was in our original rule, they went ahead and paid for it. We got reimbursed.
Wow.
So that was good news.
So you had it twice.
That's right, yeah, we want double reimbursement. Also, remember what's nice about Assembly is it allows public comment right on the system where they can comment. I have received no comments.
Wow.
As of 4:30 today. Kind of as, I have received 2 inquiries from employees that weren't interested before that are potentially interested now.
Good, good.
Any questions, comments?
How much longer is the public comment open for?
We've got another 25 days, I think, till October 7th. What we'll probably do is we already have a public hearing scheduled for next month already on the budget. We have to do a couple budget revisions, but it'll be pretty short. A couple things changed since we did that before. We potentially could have another hearing on this. What you have to do now is, once that comment period's closed, we have to take all the comments and you guys have to interact with them and respond to them, and go from there. So we'll follow that process. So kind of a timeline, we'll discuss this again in October, and we'll may be able to put this to bed in November.
Okay.
Final approval in November.
November's coming quick anyway.
Okay, this, so we'll get to this. All right, if there's no more questions or discussion on that, I need a motion to adjourn the public hearing and to reconvene the regular school board meeting.
Motion to adjourn the public hearing and reconvene the normal school board meeting.
Mr. Chairman, second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any discussions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. We're back into our regular board meeting. We will now go into roundtable. Anybody?
Yeah, that we can just make a comment.
Yeah, comment right now, so.
Yeah, I do have something. I wanted to just comment on Evanston Hall of Fame. The induction banquet is September 20th. That's homecoming weekend. And we've been criticized a little bit in the past that we haven't done as good a job to let people know about the Hall of Fame. This is the 13th year, and it's at the Roundhouse. So I've tried to do some public comments to inform people of what we have. And I think one of the misconceptions has been that we would encourage everyone to come and have a nice meal. Tickets are $40 a person, but if your schedule is tight and you may not be able to do that, you're certainly welcome to come and hear the induction people make their speech and be part of the activities. So it's a social hour at 6. Banquet starts at 7. We have, I think, a great class, and we have one posthumous award. Well, actually, we have more than that. But Rutger Davis, who was worked for the school district for many years, and we have a school named after him, will be a posthumous award. We have a lady by the name of Connie Gerard, who was an EHS graduate in 1959, college graduate in 63, and went on to work for 6 presidents of the United States. And she will make the trip and be here in a couple of weeks. We also have a gentleman by the name of Forrest Bright, who was in the law enforcement locally here with the police department, the sheriff's department, and then was with the security with the governor of the state of Wyoming. And back in probably 2016, the governor at that time was Matt Meaden, came and introduced one of the inductees, and Forrest was part of the crew that protected the governor. So he's already been to our banquet. We have a gentleman by the name of Brett Wilson, who has had a distinguished career with the military and still with the Department of Defense, and he's been one of the rescue people for SEAL groups. So we were excited to have him. And then the 1979 or 1977-78 state golf championship golf team. So. And one of the things I think that's been a little confusing is that you have to be nominated. It's not something that the committee generates. You have to be nominated. And so it's a process that you can go through, and we would certainly encourage anyone to nominate whoever they would like. And the last thing I would like to say is I'd like to thank Superintendent Thomas and CFO, Mr. Williams, for the great support that they've given us over the years and really helped us and supported us. And we're trying our best to be a little more independent. But, yeah.
So, Dan, I got a question.
Yes.
Are all of these inductees the ones you're honoring this go-around? I don't understand it. Is it
That's right on the front.
The blue ones, the blue square.
So where it
Blue
says
square.
class of
And
2025.
just that and the blue?
Yeah,
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I was
these are all
looking
the
at this
previous years.
yeah, those are all the 13
that
years.
you've already inducted.
Yeah, that we've already had. Yeah.
Right, I'm just trying to figure out what was
No
going
problem.
on there. So it's a class of 2025, and those are the people, okay. Got it, thank you.
Thank you. I'm done.
Any other comments from the board at all? Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any discussion? None? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
When Mike
We are
was down
adjourned.
getting his knee replaced, Scott didn't sit in the floor. He was in the floor above us, getting a part of the kid